Hello.
Dude, how many times have you done this, Morg?
I think I messed it up about 3 times. I'm gonna say 3 to 4 to 5.
93 episodes isn't enough practice.
This is 93? Jesus
Or was
Christ.
this 92?
93.
93?
Fucking hell.
Well, with that, hello everybody and welcome back to episode 93 of the Coffee Club podcast. And today, something very huge for the boys, for the show, for Gus. First off, Gus is finally joining us after a long hiatus. I think it was probably, 10 episodes or something. I think it was before you guys went to Europe. Since you guys have been back, it's been too hot and Gus has been passed out on the floor every single episode that we film. So Gus is back today, everyone.
Ratings have really taken a dive.
Well, the CEO wasn't on a business trip. He was on more of a personal leave. The heat was getting to him a little bit, so he was trying to spend some more time cooler.
But he needed to put some personal time. It was just all too much. So Gus is back today.
Some
and I'm
paid
sure
time off.
Yeah.
everyone is very excited for that. But finally for us, we have our first real sponsor. And I say that with no offense to Hearst Ham's Beans.
Shout out to Hearst Ham Beans. I forgot about that little deal
We
did
started
with-
so hot. That was like episode 3.
Yeah, it was like really early. It was like outrageously early. I mean, that for anyone who doesn't remember,
I don't know if many people do, but
our old roommate's dad, pretty high up at a beans company, so he sponsored an episode as a joke mostly.
yeah. Zach Donato is a former Wisconsin teammate. Goes to Colorado University Law School. He kind of said, "Hey, just
It was just a joke. It was just a joke, and we
we
all
wore
wore
the gear as well."
But we have a very, very real sponsor now, Camelback, which is pretty sick. We've been talking to them for quite a while actually. Lead into this, I think you guys know how we are. Like, we're fine with selling out, but we want to sell out to the right people. It has to be the right people.
More cashing in.
Sorry.
Right.
We're not selling out. We're cashing in, bro.
We're fine with cashing in for the right people, and we're getting a very good vibe from Camelback. So we're like, yeah, let's do it. And finally, the month of July, maybe for Infinity, they're sponsoring us. And we don't have much official stuff to say. We do have like an ad read, kind of, but in classic Coffee Club form. Probably not going to read it word for word, but I will tell you guys something very cool. Is they are offering 20% off if you go to their website through the month of July. Just use the code Coffee Club, no space, all caps at checkout. Put it up on the screen for you guys. 20% off.
Can we use it?
Yeah,
I'm about to use that. That's pretty good.
I mean, like, it's summertime. Things are heating up. You need a water bottle. I was scrolling through their website. They got some very fun products on there. They got, I don't know if you guys know kind of the history of Camelback. I certainly don't. But my first interaction with Camelback is, like the backpacks.
Yeah.
Where you have, I guess it's called a Camelback. Well, I don't know if it probably has a different name.
This is the question I had, was like, where are the camels? Because I haven't seen any camels, for sale on their website, but I do remember seeing the backpack and the water bottles, and then I started to figure out what the name actually really stood for.
It all makes sense.
Yeah, because I thought we were getting a camel. I thought a camel was coming on the podcast.
Gus would not have been happy about that.
Gus would have been interested in seeing a camel just hanging out here.
That would not have gone over
representing
well.
Camelback, but the backpacks was the first kind of introduction I had with them.
See, I want to call it something else apart from Camelback because I'm sure it has a different name, and they're just the biggest company, because I think there's like a thing in business where, this is like going on such a stupid tangent, if you have a product where like the product becomes so known for the brand, you can lose your trademark on that name. Does that make sense what I'm saying? So I'm trying to think of an example. Let's say cling wrap. You know cling wrap?
Yeah. Wait, you're talking about when the brand gets so big that everything that's made like that is named after the brand? People
start to think that, that's just what the item is called.
For us, that would be like jandals. Or like, what do you guys call them? Thongs. I'm pretty sure that was like a brand.
That was a brand at one point?
And became like flip-flops.
Yeah, so then
There's a few like that.
The brand loses its trademark on the name, which is really bad. Like, they don't want that to happen. So brands will fight hard. Like, they want to be as big as possible, but they don't want to be known as like the actual item, because then they lose their trademark on it.
Dude, like Esky.
Is that a brand?
Yeah,
as well?
That's a brand as well. Yeah.
So
now I know what you mean now. Yeah.
I don't know. Hopefully they're not still a brand, because then they're a competitor to the current ad read that we're doing. But with that said, Yeah, go check out. Hopefully they're not getting, I don't know what the bags are called, but go check out Camelback. They have so much cool stuff like that on their website. And 20% off. I mean, you guys all need water bottles. We need water bottles. Like, we lose them all the time. We get some new ones. They have great water bottles. They have a lot of other hydration solutions. I think that's what you're meant to call them. So it's just very cool. And we'll be doing some fun stuff with them throughout the month. And
it'd be great for hiking too, because if you get like attacked by something, that's a good device to defend yourself.
A good weapon.
I think this is I'm not sure what size this is, but I think, let's just call it 48.
The big camel?
Ounces. Do you think this is 48 ounces?
I'm going to say 32.
32? I think if you were...
it's about the size of Gus's bladder.
If you were looking...
This is NAU3P on the bottom.
So I put a sticker on the bottom of it to cover up. But if you're looking to also use it as a weapon, I would recommend going between 32 and 60.
Yeah, I don't think anything under 32 will help you on a hike if you get attacked by any wildlife. At least
that. And then you'll be safe. You'll be ready to go.
Yeah, you won't need to bring anything else except for a Camelback water bottle.
So, yeah.
Perfect timing for the summer.
Yeah, go buy some Camelbacks. It'll help us out as well. It'll make us look better if you use our code, which...
It also helps your wallet, 20% off.
It does. And I'm just looking through right now. I mean, we have to do this ad read like every single episode for this month, so I don't want to like use up all the good facts.
Yeah.
But the current cool fact today is that the brand started with a bike athlete who took a tube sock, IV bag / drip and water and used it as an impromptu hydration thingy, a Camelback if you will, for a 150-mile race.
Wow.
Across Texas.
Damn.
So
we're part of brands that just start to create little innovations.
Innovative. So yeah, check them out. Don't buy any other water bottle company. Just buy those ones. And that is our Camelback ad read, which I think went for way longer than 60 seconds. So you guys enjoyed that. And the only other opening of the show type thing I'll say is merch. 1 week. 1 week.
You hear that, Gus? 1 week.
1 week countdown starts today. So we'll start posting a shit ton about that and flood your feeds with fun stuff. But 1 week, get those wallets ready. I mean, spend a little bit on Camelback, but keep just like a little bit left over.
Just a little bit.
For us as well. So
no eating out this week.
No door dashing. Ollie?
No door dashing.
Ollie?
Yeah.
No door dashing.
Only sweet greens.
Only sweet greens.
What? I did this little thing.
Ollie pranked me this morning.
I pranked Morgan this morning.
Is this another ad read?
It's not an ad. I'm not sponsored by Sweet Greens. But I was coming home and I was like, hey, Morgan, do you want some Sweet Greens? I knew his response because he was already making food in the kitchen. And he's like, nah, I'm good, bro. Cheers. I was like, okay, I'm going to order some Sweet Greens. And then I went on the DoorDash, boop, 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 ordered my food. And then like 10 minutes later, it came to the door and I was like, whoa, this is Sweet Greens. And I pulled out some McDonald's. And Morgan was like,
McDonald's. I
was like, oh, well, I guess I'll eat it anyway. I don't want this to get cold. So,
the classic prank.
The order must have got like
they messed up my order or something. They went to McDonald's instead of
I think
Sweet
they
Greens.
make food in the same kitchen.
Yeah.
So it's like really easy. Just
it's
like,
calorie and health intake. All the same,
yeah.
Really. So
they're equivalents. Yeah. There's no difference.
Anyway, another tangent.
So the big story in Coffee Club land this week is Mr. George Beamish finishing 4th in the Stockholm Diamond League. So without further ado, how about we get into a little recap of that? We talked about last week how George got the call up on very short notice to make the trip, hop across the pond back to Europe, and we did the podcast, and the next day, away he went.
Yeah, the timing was ridiculous in that I'm already back in time for the next episode.
Yeah, that is crazy, actually. What the hell? I didn't think you were going to be back soon.
Yeah, to be honest, I was not thinking you'd be here.
As I got back yesterday, and first thing Morg says, like, dude, I don't think Ritz knows you came back.
Ritz had no idea you were coming back. Like, because we were talking to him at training that morning, and like we asked him, and he's like, yeah, I think he might be doing more races in a year, so I think he's probably just still there.
By that point I was like already probably like halfway to Denver.
Yeah,
exactly.
Good God, man, he's already here.
Surprise.
He's also just got a lot on his plate because he's already gone to Eugene, so I haven't seen him, but I finally texted him today and I was like, just for the record.
You text him, he's like, you should be in bed. It's like 3 a.m. in Europe.
Yeah, for the record, I'm back in Boulder. Mm-hmm. Lovely few days in Stockholm. Went on Wednesday night, I think. Got there in time for a beautiful late night run along the water. Posted a little bit on my Strava there. I'm sure you know from Oslo, it stays light.
Oh yeah,
just insanely.
I was going to say you wouldn't have issues crazy. Not seeing anything.
And yeah, beautiful first day. Unfortunately, it then post pre-meet rained for the next like 48 hours up until I left. So that was a bit of a bummer, but had a lovely coffee and pastry at Comet Coffee Roasters, I think it's called.
Were they fans of the pod? Do they come, oh, is that George Beanish?
You know, I reckon Common Coffee Roasters is a very common name. I feel like
no, it was like Comet.
Oh, Comet?
I think like Komet.
Let me say less common.
Yeah. Less common.
They had like...
They were fans of the pod though, right? They give you free coffee?
Must have been.
Yeah. George Beamish in our coffee shop.
Dude, I don't post a lot of food on my Instagram. I don't post a lot on my Instagram in general, but the pastries, dude, were like, I swear they were like painted on. It was
that thing
wild.
was gnarly. That had so many twists and like layers to it.
Yeah, it blew my mind.
Someone must have been folding that all night.
Dude, I don't know what was going on there, but yeah, lovely coffee and pastry. Went for a couple of bike rides with Parsnips, and what else can I tell you? There's nice running actually.
Really?
Yeah, went for a nice jog with Luis and
soft surface.
Yeah, heaps of gravel.
Nice.
Like just out of the city.
Love to hear that.
Big forest right next to the track.
Dude, three worlds collide, man. You had Tinfoil, you had the Mike Smith fan club, and then you had the Dathan Ritzy Hines all together. That'd have been a cool little conversation down the river.
That's a collaboration.
Really
Imagine the merch on that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, and our man Jordan Donnelly was on the ground in Stockholm.
Very much so.
Fighting his way through the buffet.
He actually got real meal tickets this time.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, he was. I got to the chicken thing, and they were like to get my credential and stuff, and they were like, "Yeah, so it looks like you've got a coach coming," and I was like, I read something.
Not that I know.
And I was like, "Oh, it's probably like somehow Jordan's like got his name down for this." So I was like, "Oh yeah, he's coming on Saturday."
I wouldn't hold it behind Ritz and going, I can make it 3 hours. I can make it. I'll get my United flight. I could see Ritz trying to make it there.
He would have probably if he had more notice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Donnelly was on the coaching credential. Yeah, big thanks to Jordan for the help over the weekend. Just classic Jordan there for whatever you need.
Yeah, he's good. He's good at the meets, man. He gets you ready, gets you fired up, and looks after you. So
had the rain jackets and the yoga mats out at the warm ups. And
was there a tent involved?
He bought a tent.
Yeah, I heard about a tent,
but that was like in case there wasn't like cover at the warm ups because it was just a torrential like rainstorm. But it was like inside a hockey. Like the warm up area was a hockey rink.
Really.
Without the ice.
What a shame.
Yeah. So, where do we get to? The race, I guess.
Yeah, I think it's time to get in the race. Get into it.
Stop with the foreplay. Let's get into it.
I know. Yeah. Happy to come away with fourth. I mean, I feel like you got to be pretty satisfied with top 3 or 4 in any Diamond League, and especially first Diamond League steeple. Can't be too unhappy to come away with fourth place, and I thought it was probably realistic going into it. I thought El Bakali hasn't been beaten since like 2021 in the steeple.
Wow.
So that was that's quite a high level, and then I think Wiley's got a medal or two, and he's always pretty consistent. But I thought after those two. The field looked pretty open, and I thought, on an incredible day, then top 3 would have been realistic, and to come away with fourth is pretty happy with that. Obviously a little frustrated to be stuck running 8:17. Still would have loved to get the Olympic standard on day 2 of the window. Would have been nice to just
I didn't realize the Olympic.
It's pretty crazy, huh?
It was open.
Yeah, July 1st this year.
That would have been amazing. But,
so, that would have been nice, but it wasn't to be for whatever reason.
Yeah, it was a crazy race to watch, just for
Really?
a couple of reasons. Well, it was the most like spread out I've ever seen like a Diamond League race. It was just because the pace was so hot, and then there was the conditions, which we should mention the conditions. I mean, you already mentioned how much it was raining. Was it still raining by the time you raced, or was it just really wet?
It had like just started to stop. Maybe like as we were leaving, when I left the warm up area, it was like still raining a bit, and then by the time we walked onto the track, it like kind of just stopped. So that was pretty nice. So at least like the rain wasn't coming down, but it had just been raining for the last like 8 hours probably.
Still windy.
On the track.
It looked like it was windy too, right?
It was, yeah. It was.
Conditions weren't great.
Definitely not perfect. I mean, probably worse for like events like the high jump. I know Hamish Kerr, shout out, won Kiwi getting the dub.
Nice little Diamond League win.
Said it was the worst high jump conditions he'd ever jumped in. Like, you don't want to be doing high jump in the cold and wet, and they jumped like 10 centimeters lower than they probably could have. And then,
did you see what's happening in the pole vault?
I know that they were just doing the pole vault after the meet was over.
So I think the pole vault was always planned to be the grand finale because
it's Mondo.
Because of Mondo.
Yeah.
But because of the weather, like the pole vault takes like 6 hours anyway. Because of the weather, they couldn't put the bar back up. Like, because the system they have...
Keep blowing off or what?
It kept like just falling off because of the rain and the wind. Because, the system they have is just literally just like two poles. Like, you have to pick it up. It's very like, kind of like archaic almost like... and it just kept falling off. So they just had to wait ages. And all the pole vaulters were just getting pissed because they just had to sit there in the cold.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, that sounds pretty miserable.
But it gives Mondo time to like do backflips and kiss his girlfriend. So
it's true.
It's still a plus.
Probably got a lot of kisses in
Yeah,
it.
it's still a plus, you know. Still get some entertainment value out of there.
But then, in your race as well, then it went out in, was it 2:39 or 2:40 first K for the leaders?
Probably. Abukali asked for 2:39, and then I think he just got out there and was like, "Oh fuck this, it sucks."
Like first K
and didn't really go
quick.
for it. Like he was back with me over the first K, I think.
Yeah. So it was like just such a weird race to watch.
They need a split screen for your race. That's like the time when they could have the split screen.
I heard they showed a bunch of discus.
They did show a bunch of
discus. The discus world champ is Swedish, so
okay.
that was probably
that makes more sense.
Yeah, we were
probably
very
a good reason.
Frustrated
because it's like 3K steeples, like it's 8 minutes.
It's not very long.
It's not very long. It's not like a 10K where you have half an hour. You know, so like when they do the discus stuff in the middle of a race, it's like there could be crucial things happening here that we're not seeing. Which is but you know, you're trying to show all the elements of track and
because it was so wet though. I was actually pretty I was pretty intimidated, like about doing a water jump with like a wet barrier.
Yeah,
that was freaking me out a little bit before it, and it was one of those. It was like a slick water barrier, like just like slick painted wood.
Yeah.
Not like some water barriers have like a nice layer of Mondo on top, which
extra grip. Yeah,
it just seems a lot easier to like roll your foot on, and like seems a lot grippier, especially when the bottom of the spike is like quite a lot of plastic. And this one was just like perfectly shiny wood, completely soaked in water. So that was, once I got like going, didn't really think about it, and it was mostly fine, but that was a little bit intimidating beforehand. I was like, as someone who hasn't done that many already, I was like, fuck, I really don't want to do a steeple in the rain.
Yeah, that'd be intimidating.
And you can tick it off the list.
Yeah.
You've experienced it.
And yeah, got out kind of mid-pack and then worked my way up a bit and kind of was probably on 8:15 pace or so for half the race, and then the light started to get away a bit. I got behind Avinash for a while.
Oh yeah.
Who trains in Colorado Springs, who's Commonwealth champ actually, and 8:11 guy. So I kind of thought he would kind of pull us along a little bit. But after kind of a lap or two behind him, I was like, shit, I'm gonna run 8:25 if I sit back here. So then kind of had to went around and probably ran the last KO 800 kind of on my own with I actually didn't realize how close I got to the guy who came third. Ended up running 8:16, so was closing on those guys. And I mean, Bakali ran 8:09. He can probably run 7:55 on a good day. So yeah, seem to catch a break with these Diamond League conditions. But no, happy to just have a good race and good for the ranking, I think.
That's going to be amazing for the ranking, 4th in a Diamond League. And a solid time. It's still like a solid time. It's not what you wanted, but it's still a very solid time. So I think it's a pretty great performance.
My question is, Monaco. It's a steeple, right?
That'd be nice, huh?
Yeah. So maybe,
Yeah.
the gods, if the gods allow, the track gods, there's another opportunity there. I mean, I've heard I've heard rumors Monaco's a fast track. So that wouldn't be a bad one to run a steeple in, I imagine. And the weather seems to be quite nice there too. It's where all the, cyclists and F1 drivers live. So it'd be nice to hang out with them, grab a coffee and run a nice fast steeple. So who knows? We'll see.
I think the reason Ritz thought I was maybe staying is I think I either almost got in or got into the Poland steeple in a couple of weeks at Silesia. I don't know if I was confirmed, but I was either like next on the list or something, and it was pretty likely. But it just seemed a bit close and felt like I needed to do some training finally.
Come back home.
You had to come back for the podcast, so like
had to come back for the pod.
There's restraints here. Like you have Gus wrote a contract, and you have to fulfill it. Otherwise, he wouldn't be here supervising.
But then Monaco's a week later, and that's the last steeple before Worlds, last Diamond League steeple before Worlds, and I'm not sure how likely that is to get into it.
You never know.
Yeah, but you never know, and that would be, probably too good an opportunity to turn down.
Plus Worlds as well. You have steeples there. So the nice thing is there's more steeples coming, and it's you can run. Hopefully, not all those steeples are going to be bad conditions. So
I would predict that Worlds is going to be really fast.
Yeah, I think if you're in that Worlds race, it's just going to be a nice place to tag along and have a
nice.
Nice
I know it was last year. It was really slow, but I'd be surprised if it was like that again.
You keep racing them, man. It's going to happen. So
I think it's the kind of thing, like, now I've run between 8:17 and 8:20 4 times, which is a bit annoying, but I feel like that's none of them have been that hard, and I just haven't been able to find the rhythm to run 10 seconds faster. But I think like just keeping having a crack at that kind of time, and then I think
you'll pop off.
One will go.
I agree. There's nothing else you can really do. Just keep going for it.
Sometimes you just can't make a stone bleed. Just gotta let it live.
And the body's coming off them a lot better than the first few, which is a nice feeling.
Yeah, that's good to hear.
Yeah, that's the one thing that I think was really interesting for me. I don't know how you feel it. The slower ones, your body seems to be worse, whereas the ones that are a little bit quicker, and the more you progress through the steeple, through the steeple, your body seems to be able to handle it a lot better, which is like a really good positive from it, I think.
Yeah, it's probably true. I think it's taking the water jump faster.
Yeah,
is like less impact. I think it's my hypothesis.
That makes sense. Well, it was a great race. I mean, you came through 4th, almost a 3rd place. So
I was really excited.
Yeah, when we saw that result, we're like, that's huge. Yeah. Like, that's only positive. Maybe it's good that you didn't run 8:15 or 8:14, because now you're still very, very hungry to go out and do that. So I think it's a good fire in you. Yeah, the fire is in the belly. Not that it would just evaporate that quickly, but I think it's still good. And you're just in a great place to just keep ticking them off, get back into a little bit of training here, and then make the trip back over. Hopefully race another one before Worlds, and just have a really nice lead into Worlds, which at the end of the day, Worlds is the big one, and that's where you want to turn up and go for the medal. So
you'll be hungry and hungry.
Yeah, in a great position to do that. And as you said, I think your ranking is going to be... Has your ranking updated?
It hasn't, but I think Red said it would be like 15.
That's pretty fucking good.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's pretty sweet.
Not bad. Not bad at all.
So, overall, the Stockholm meet, I think we would all agree, was just slightly watered down because it came 2 days after like a crazy Lausanne. Is that how you say that city? Lausanne. Diamond League.
Lasagna?
Crazy lasagna Diamond League.
My dad was calling it lasagna.
I like that. Yeah. So that's where you get the naming from. That makes a lot of sense.
My dad and my mum and my grandfather does a lot of the naming stuff.
It's genetic.
It's embedded in me. But the interesting thing with Stockholm for me was the protesting.
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy. People, I was doing my little Ollie research on on the media and stuff. And like when you look at meets like Lausanne, Oslo, Florence, like there's like Paris, all these crazy events running world records and stuff. Stockholm's still a Diamond League, still has like incredible performances. But imagine if that protest, because like there's not much security at Diamond Leagues. Like you can just walk on the track. No one's going to.
You can protest whatever you want.
Yeah, but imagine if somebody was protesting during like Face world record attempt,
that'd be so
or Jakob's
sad. That'd be the saddest thing ever.
And they prevented them from running the world record. Imagine the impact that would have had. Well, I was just thinking about that when that was happening.
It was something specific to Stockholm or Sweden. Like maybe it was like a sponsor of the meet or something that they were.
I think it was like some oil thing.
Yeah, I think it was climate change.
Why take it out on the athletes?
Yeah,
you know, that's the thing I don't like. Is like I get it. You should protest. You should have the right to like be against something like that, but don't take it out on athletes.
Yeah, especially because like the people in that race, Warholm is an exception. The rest of the people in that race are not like. They're trying to make a freaking living out there. They're not millionaires that are running the 400-meter hurdles.
They're training their ass off. They're paying their way there. They're like getting an opportunity to compete at one of the biggest meets.
Yeah.
And they get stopped or they lose second because a protester's protesting somebody else in some other world, universe, that probably doesn't watch track. You know?
Yeah, I found it like kind of a little bit off the mark. Hey, I'm all for standing up for what you believe in, but like
stick it to the man.
But it seemed a little off to do it in that setting, which I mean we're talking about it, so I guess that's their whole point. But you just if the protesters are watching, like we're not like the biggest audience, you could go for a bigger audience than the Coffee Club podcast. So
the track and field in general, it's a huge audience. I mean, it's very niche market.
Maybe do like a football game or something where you'll actually like
more security at those ones though.
But that also makes it more exciting. You know,
the thrill of getting caught.
It's kind of like a classic. It's a classic risk reward. Like they went for very low risk, but also slightly low reward.
But I
they definitely went low risk when they didn't go in
Warholm's lane.
Yeah. They saw that guy. They were like, "Oh, I don't want to get hit by him. I don't want to get hit by him."
That they know nothing about the sport.
Yeah,
because I think. They would have wanted to be in his lane if they knew this is the guy.
Yeah, the impact.
He would have been so angry.
The impact they would have had on him would have been massive. But like, that was the one thing I was thinking about. I don't know if you guys are thinking about it, but if that happened at any of those other big Diamond Leagues and that prevented like a world record or prevented something like that, it would have been pretty crazy. They would have hit their mark for sure. Whereas the Stockholm one, like we are talking about it, but it wasn't as big as an impact.
I was just impressed that all the athletes restrained because. I mean, they were probably all just so confused because it's so unheard of for that to happen at a track meet. But I would not have been surprised if a sprinter just like shoulder charges and destroys one of them. Like I almost would have expected that to happen.
So this goes into my Q&A that I gave to Morgan. George, I want you to kind of answer it. If you're a protester, who would you rather get in the way of? Carsten Warholm or Fred Curley? And they're both running incredibly quick, and you have to get in the way of them and protest.
What
like the Kiwi.
Are they running?
Their event, their discipline.
Well, because then Fred Curley's running at 100. Are you saying?
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that like you have either the option of Fred Curley running 100 or 200.
Yeah.
At an incredible speed. But then you also have Carsten Warholm hurdling with his fucking foot in the air, about to take your head out. Like, which one are you getting in the way of? Obviously, Carsten's going quick, but not as quick as Fred. But also, Carsten's got his foot in your face. So, you know.
I reckon Fred must have like 50 or 100 pounds on Warholm, dude. You get in front of that dude, I don't know if you're surviving.
I'd be scared to get in front of Warholm though.
I would be very afraid of both of them.
Yeah.
I think if either of them hit you, there's a really good chance of brain damage or something worse.
Yeah. Say we're promoting the podcast and we're holding up a sign. George goes out there. He's like, depending, do you want to get kicked in the head by Carsten Warholm or shoulder charged by Fred Curley?
Can I turn the question on you?
Yeah.
Who would you most prefer to be standing in front of?
Honestly, I feel like if Fred...
any athlete, like what event would you be the least scared of?
Honestly, probably the high jump.
High jump?
Well, because if I stand in front of them, they're going to jump over me anyway.
Jump over you. That's a great... That'd be a really nice protest.
Yeah, you could just go right under the bar.
I'd just stand there.
That's just great advertising.
I'd stand there.
Or the pole vault. That'd be a good view too.
You know, this is a little tidbit, one of our many business ideas to World Athletics. That's a lot of really good marketing, advertising, real estate not being taken advantage. You got to put some advertising under the high jump bar.
We just hang a coffee club poster below the bar.
That'd be epic.
It'd be so good.
That would be unreal. I mean, that would be the least scared I'd be.
I thought you were going to say like women's 5K. Did you see the size of the lady that won, she was probably like 100 pounds.
Yeah, I mean, like, I wouldn't be scared of that, being in front of the women's 5K, but I also think that, like, you know, you can still get a bit of a scratch, a bit of a scruffle. But if I'm not getting hit at all, which I prefer, then the high jump, I think, would be the best one.
That's an incredibly smart answer.
Yeah, but, hey, business, bro.
You've really used your brain here.
Yeah, I have used my brain. But if I can answer my own question, I'd probably want to be in front of Fred Curley, and you know why? Because I would be knocked unconscious before I even know what's going on. Whereas with Warholm, I would see the anticipation, the fear, and then I'd get cleaved in the head with a Puma Mercedes spike that's worth like $300,000.
Mm-hmm. It's a great way to die.
Yeah. But I thought I'd throw that question at you, George. Just, you know, I like your opinions on things like this.
I'm choosing Casta.
Yeah, I also am choosing Casta. I mean, they both seem like pretty nice guys. You know, like they both have kind of mastered the like super intimidating but still seem like pretty nice guys. So I mean, maybe it depends what you're advertising. I mean, actually probably no matter what, they're gonna be really annoyed at you for being in their way. So it's probably not gonna end well, but you know, I think they'll try to hit you like kind of nicely.
I hope Fred doesn't. I hope Fred hits me hard so I don't remember it.
Oh, he wants to feel it.
Yeah, I want Fred to just knock me unconscious.
So
enough hypotheticals.
So that was the Stockholm Diamond League, and moving on from that, the big news story this week in our lives and all of track and field, the biggest event of the year, USA's.
4th of July? Oh, USA's.
USA is the championships is happening this week, and we have many teammates competing, so we're very excited to get watching it. First off, we have to comment on a couple of some gripes that we have. No media, well, I don't even know how to say this correctly. No third-party media allowed at USA's. USATF, I think it was USATF, put out a statement saying that I think it's like anything inside the stadium.
And warm-up area.
Like, you're not even allowed to like have someone like take a video of you.
Or picture.
Like your team. Like your team is not, say you wanted to like make a vlog, like a race day vlog.
Or post-race recap.
Yeah. Like
so there's none of the like Citrus Mag post-race interviews or anything?
I think if you're credentialed, I think there's still a media zone. So I think like that still exists. But I think all the other stuff is like USATF the same.
How do they enforce that?
We own that. They would just put a copyright strike on anything that got posted, they would copyright strike it to get it taken down. I
would like to know how hard it would be to get a credential, like in that media zone. I imagine it's incredibly difficult.
I think they're pretty strict.
Has Colin had one?
No. No.
He told me that he was going to. He told me he was going to get a super massive lens and be outside the stadium. Just a little.
He'll be in that dormantry.
Yeah,
he's in a sniper perch with like the ghillie over him, just the camera.
Just the super like $500,000 lens. Just so that's his plan.
Full paparazzi.
But I imagine only the I could see Citrus Mag.
Probably just all the boring ones.
Yeah.
You know what I mean though, like just the people that like we don't really. Just the same old, like all the like the fun new stuff, because this is kind of who they're targeting. It's like all the fun new, like more lower tier people that don't have the money or the means to get the credentials. That's who is negatively affected, and that's who makes the cool content.
Nice job, you say.
I mean, you go on this, like USATF is really just fixing the sport by making sure that all the people who can't afford it aren't allowed in.
And then it's not on TV.
This is a premier sport, all right? We don't want any of that.
How are we going to watch
stuff?
You gotta have a friggin' running space account.
No, it is on Peacock. The first day, which is when Joe races, which is the 10K, is not on Peacock, but the rest of it is. But it's not live. You have to. There's like some sort of. It's like playback.
It must be live.
I think it's like. It might be live.
I think it's live stream, but the big thing is it's the first time it's not
on NBC.
Live on like national TV.
Yeah.
That's like the big thing, which sucks.
I did see an article by Jonathan Goldblatter about like. about why this has happened since 2006. It's been on NBC, so that's a long time, and they have a commitment apparently with the Olympics and everything like that, with USA trials or championships or Grand Prix, whatever, up to 2024. And apparently there's like a lot of things that they weren't answering about why they're not doing it for NBC. In general, though, they're pretty much just saying that like golf, women's golf, which is on at the same time, got more viewership than last year's USA's. So they're giving it to golf, and plus I think you have to like, I don't know how it works necessarily, but USATF give this like amount of money into getting those spots in NBC, and the Grand Prix in New York and LA, they spent a lot of money on those, invested a lot of money, and they got really good viewership. But I think with USA's, they just didn't have the resources to do it. So hopefully that doesn't happen for next year. Maybe they'll...
Yeah, the Olympic trials will definitely be on.
Yeah, imagine if they didn't know. That would be crazy if they didn't have the Olympic trials on NBC.
So much bigger. Yeah, I don't really know how it works either. I would imagine that NBC has to buy it from
USATF.
Yeah, but I don't really know how it works.
Maybe Max Siegel was like, oh, I want $100 million. And they're like, no.
Fell through.
And he's like, business, damn. We'll get him next time.
See how it goes. But yeah, it is a shame, especially, because those other meets were on NBC, were they not?
The Grand Prix?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Were they?
Yeah, they were.
Which is kind of crazy to think about.
Which is why I think Gallbladder was talking about the allocation of money.
Yeah. But so, really killing it. Because I remember last year seeing a bunch of stuff about how, like, people were trying to get credentials. Like, I don't know if I'm just going to throw Joe Hale's name in there. I don't know if he was a photographer who was this, but I think they were denying, like, a lot of people, like, they're pretty strict on their credentials.
What about New Gen?
New Gen, I think they run the place, that's their hometown.
I feel like that's their hometown. If they don't get a credential, man.
Honestly, like, I would...
Uproar.
I mean, maybe they got the Nike connection. I don't really know how it works, but who knows? Maybe they'll be the only media allowed there.
The question is, if we were going, would we get a credential?
Definitely.
Yeah. We have the connections, right, George?
We'd pay off the right people.
Probably have an infield, like, live studio.
We'd have the live studio on the infield.
We'd have a live podcast, just the whole just on the infield.
So if people don't want to watch like a race, they can just come and watch it.
It'd be 24/7. It'd be streamed like 5 days straight.
We should do commentary. We should do commentary at the USA Championships and made up all the names and done all the fun things. That'd have been a good time. Maybe next year.
This would be a good year to get into that.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to do that. Live stream it and we just make up names for people and then do predictions and then look like
we
idiots
could,
when we fail.
If we find out how to watch it, we could just live stream us watching it, commentating.
That's what people would do. Like for like other sports where they're not even, like, I'm thinking of like Barstool type stuff. They'll have like a live stream, which is literally just like them sitting on a couch. The camera is them on the couch. And the idea is that I think you have the sports up on like one TV and then you have their live stream up at the same time. And so you're just watching them react to it as enhanced experience.
Have you seen the one?
Enhanced viewing experience.
There was a video I saw of this and it was like they couldn't make any noise. They couldn't like cheer or say anything.
I saw that.
And they're watching soccer and they score a goal and they all go nuts and this guy trips over and spills his beer everywhere and everyone's like trying to laugh.
Wait, was that like a challenge?
Yeah, it was like their team or something. They were like super invested.
Their team scored and they're all getting up. And then they just go like this, and then he just trips over, his beer goes everywhere, and everyone just starts like it's really
like silent cheering.
It's quite entertaining. It's quite entertaining.
Just some good ideas for enhanced viewing experiences. But yeah, beyond USATF doing USATF things, we do have some previews for our teammates that are out there competing. And starting off, I don't know if I'll get all the exact days correct for this, so check a schedule. Don't take our word as the law, but Thursday,
I'm gonna say those first three are all on Thursday.
Thursday, 10Ks. I think that'll be the last event. Will be the men's and women's 10K on Thursday, and we have Joe and Alicia going in. And if you've been paying attention the last 2 years, you know that these two have been turning up at USA's, specifically in the 10K, and crushing it. So they're both very ready to go.
Do you know what my favorite storyline is ahead of the 10Ks? Is Joe Clicks Mix's recent addiction to Red Bull.
Oh, yeah.
That's my favorite storyline.
Do you know how that started? I have the origin story for that if you guys want to know.
Love to hear it.
So,
in St. Moritz.
Yeah, it was in St. Moritz. So Joe's very much on the caffeine, like getting intakes of caffeine very, very quickly into his blood. Yeah, so we were going through, you see all these different drinks when you're in a different country, right? So there's like all these different sparkling waters, sodas, energy drinks, whatever. When you go through this aisle in the Coop, which is where like we kind of went, the grocery store in St. Moritz, he'll go in and there's like these flavored caffeinated Red Bulls, like sports drinks that are cold. and he bought like a ginger one, and then ever since then he's been primarily addicted to them, and so upset that they don't sell them in the US. But like he's kind of started his Red Bull addiction from there, because now he's just buying Red Bulls like crazy.
I don't know if he's actually. I don't think he's at the point though where he'll use it for a race.
I don't think so.
I don't think he is, because he told me that he told me that.
That's pretty much almost funnier that he's not going to use it for the
just
race.
training purposes.
Yeah,
and he said he doesn't feel it enough from a Red Bull. He says it's too much liquid.
You know why? Because he takes like 4 of that Morton caffeine gels before like a race or workout.
And a good espresso shot or a caffeinated gel.
I guess the caffeine content between a coffee shot, a Morton gel, and the Red Bull, I'm guessing the coffee would be probably one of the most, right?
I think a Red Bull is actually only like 80 milligrams or something.
Yeah.
It's not insane.
I think it's actually logical what he's saying, where you want, if you're really just looking at it in pure form, you want a higher caffeine to liquid ratio, which is why in reality we should just probably be taking caffeine pills, so it's more controlled and you can get that big caffeine hit. If you're just like pure performance, I mean, I enjoy drinking a coffee before a race just for like
feels,
for funsies,
for feels,
just like for vibes,
for real. What if we're all wrong and we just see Joe shotgun a Red Bull on the line? There's the defending champion.
There's a new sponsor.
Yeah, there's a defending champion, Joel Klecker. He seems to be shotgunning a Red Bull.
Dude, what if Joe just turns up and he has we're doing too much shout out for Red Bull right now. This is Red Bull's sponsored the logo and he's singing.
I'd be so jealous actually.
He just tapes it on.
That'd be sick.
But he's a guy that's notorious for turning up at USA's. I mean, like
defending champ.
I was an emotional wreck when the team just started and he made the Olympic team for the US, and it was so sick for him to see. And then he won the next trials. So this one's going to be really exciting, and he's in the best shape we've ever seen him in. So
the big names going up against?
Well, arch nemesis Woody Kincaid.
Yeah. The rivalry continues.
The rivalry continues.
Grant Fisher, and I think
Paul Chilima.
Sean McGorney. Connor Mance.
Oh, Connor
Mance is entered?
Yeah, he ran 1500 recently, ran 337, so
ready to go.
Yeah, he's looking good. I mean, Abdi's not doing
just on the 5.
Just on the 5. The 10K is interesting because
very top heavy.
Very top heavy, yeah. So it'd be interesting to see if they just let it go to a tactical race, or they just take it off and
there was a funny thing in the entries. Some guy got in with literally like a 29:20 or something, and Melly posted on Twitter like, looking forward to USA's, like, can't wait to be lapped once, maybe twice.
That reminds me, a few years ago at the Olympic trials, the same thing happened, and the guy was like a notorious stoner. Like, that was like his story. Like, he just smoked a ton of weed, and he got laughed like 2 or 3 times. And like they made a new story about it because it was so funny. Like, he was a good runner.
I'm
surprised like more like 28, 30 college kids didn't.
It's not worth it. It's not worth it.
Maybe like once you know, like you can't compete with like Joe, Woody, and Grant. Like, they're so good at that point. Like, why just destroy your body when maybe you're trying to get ready for the fall? So
I think that'd be kind of the trade-off. Like, racing USA's, I think for a lot of people it would always be an absolute honor. But as a college kid, you might have massive goals going into the next cross season. So you're thinking, got to get ready for that. that. So I mean, Joe has been just, as we already said, amazing form, and his race like sense, or whatever you want to call it, his racing ability just continues to get better and better. So he's going to be very hard to beat. It's interesting because I think Woody is an amazing form and has his kick, and he's going to be very hard to drop because we know that he can run 27 minutes or probably quicker.
He'd also be dropped and then come back in the race.
He can still be dropped and still use his kick to devastating effect. But then Grant is interestingly more than a bit of a question mark just based on the last few months, which he probably shouldn't be because he still ran amazing early in the year. Like, he ran a 3:34 1500 indoors, which is kind of crazy how good that is. Like, he was ahead of Mario in that race. So
at 12:56 in Florence, like, that's not terrible. That's still a very, very,
I think he was
commendable result.
I think he was pretty pissed about that though. Like, I think he was ready to go to Park City and
was Jerry available for comment about that race?
Fortunately not.
No comment from Jerry? All right, we'll move on.
We tried.
We'll move on.
The thing is, like, Grant is in probably an amazing form, and he's going to be, like, probably so ready to go. I think it's just because last year he ran literally 26:33, whatever it was, like, already at this point in the year. So then,
do you remember watching that?
So at this point in the year, it's just like, Grant's going to, like, win everything. And then it didn't happen. So who knows? So that 10K is going to be super competitive. The women's 10K, I don't really know as much about.
Yeah, Carissa and Elise haven't run too much, if at all, leading into this race.
Elise has raced a few times, but I don't know about
Alicia ran a very, very good race. Or, I mean, not to her what she wanted, but she ran a commendable race in Paris, and she's already the record holder of the 10K.
Yeah, this year.
She's the record holder in the indoor 3K, so she's like progressed really well, and I know Alicia really wants to win because she's had. I mean, last year she was set on by Carissa and got out kicked, and I know like the one thing that she wants to tick off that box is a USA Championship win. So
she wants to cause pain to her.
She wants to cause pain. She wants to put the fear of God into them, as Ritz would say, and put the screws in. Yeah. But in general, I think Alicia's going to be really hard to beat as well. Mm-hmm. Carissa and Elisa are very much a question mark, but I've been seeing a lot of their social media content through Bauman, not giving me any information on their training, but they seem to be having fun with it. So
it's important.
That's an important part of it.
That's a really good takeaway.
They're in Utah, having a great time, taking photos on the track, sometimes running, sometimes not running, and
they do both.
They do both, you know. And I'm looking forward to the women's 10K because I think that's one of the things where like a lot of girls can come through.
Yeah.
Like sometimes you see a girl that comes through and really shines. I mean, from Brooks, Natalie. I can't remember her last name, but she got third, I think.
Rogers, you mean?
Rogers, yeah.
Is that her first name?
Is it Natalie Rogers? Or is it Rogers Natalie?
I think it's Natalia. I don't know.
Natasha Rogers. Natasha Rogers. I apologize.
She doesn't run for Brooks anymore.
No,
she's Puma.
She's Puma now.
She's Puma Elite.
Well, congratulations to Puma. I apologize for getting your name wrong. I'm really bad at that sort of stuff. But Natasha Rogers, she had an incredible USA's last year. She made her first US team. I think that's her first, like on the track, outdoor track. She might have made.
I think that we should probably just not say anything that like is close to like a fact.
Yeah.
Like there's just such a good chance it's wrong.
Just a speculation.
Like, I think you're gonna incriminate yourself if you keep going.
Like I think just say like she ran well last year.
She ran well last year, and I feel like
she hasn't looked as good this year. I will say that.
Yeah, there can be other stories like hers where girls come through and have a great race. That's what I wanted to say before I destroyed my reputation that was already down here.
That's why we try to keep our reputations really low, because then it can't, like in terms of like track knowledge, factual, because then it can only go like a little bit lower. You know, sometimes it gets built up a little bit.
It's rock bottom now.
It goes down. So
it's rock bottom
bottom.
But I apologize. But yeah, I'm excited for the women's 10K as well. I think Alicia's going to crush it.
I think maybe now we should like weirdly take a jump forwards just to them, because those two are both potential doubles as well in the 5K. And it's hard to say like much because we don't know if they're going to be doubling back. I'm pretty certain Joe is. I'm not sure about Alicia. But then I would just say like the 5K is going to be very, very exciting on both sides, because
it's just everyone in the 10 plus
the 5K
more.
Like
Runners.
it's more definitely a little bit more depth in the 5Ks. And then the other big one is, well, okay, does everyone know in the world like what's racing? We're not spoiling. Like everyone knows Josette's racing just the 5K, right?
Yeah, it was on
How
Citrus.
dare you?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know, man.
We're going to get us in trouble.
I don't know if it's a secret or not. I don't know if it's a secret.
We got to keep it on the DL.
It was big news on Citrus.
Okay, so everyone knows that. So Josette joining the crew, and she's just doing the 5K, so she's going to be...
Should be fresh for that.
She hasn't made a team yet, and I would...
She has made a team.
Indoors.
Indoors,
yeah.
Team, yeah.
But I would put very good money that this is her chance to just destroy USA outdoors. So I think that's going to be very exciting. And the men's, I'm hoping that it's kind of a bit of scenario where Joe like crushes the 10K and then the 5K just gives no fucks and just does something crazy, you know?
I would love to see it. Just tries to run sub 13 just for the shit.
Just gives no fucks. But the men's 5K especially is going to be crazy because you put in Abdi, who's like amazing form, and then you bring back everyone, and then you also
put in Beetlejuice. He's been running
Beetlejuice, yeah.
He's been running very well.
30 something.
Yeah. So those 5Ks are going to be absolutely amazing to watch, as they were last year, as they are most of the time. And also, is Porcellino also?
He is doubling too.
He's been running. Did he run 13:02 or some shit?
13:04,
I think. Yeah.
So that's going to be so good. But then taking a little step back, we have our mid-distance crew, which consists of Yared and Sage, who I think both of them are like, both of their heats on Thursday, and then maybe Sage has semis on Friday, and then
a day off Saturday, I think,
and final Sunday, and then Yared, I think is Yared just Thursday, Saturday.
Thursday, Saturday.
So we don't need to preview Yard because we spent quite a lot of time on it last week.
All I'm going to say is he's going to win. That's all I'm going to say.
Yard
he's going to win.
We're putting all the money that we've made for Coffee Lab so far, we're going to
put it on Yard.
Which I think would that be illegal if we did that?
Yeah, 100%.
Betting on a teammate?
Yeah, 100%.
I don't think you're allowed to do that.
I'm pretty sure I've done my education courses with SIA.
Anti-fixing, sports fixing.
Yeah, there's like sports fixing, which is like deliberately.
So that was a joke. Like, we're not going to do that.
Yeah, we're joking.
Yard isn't actually run for the US yet.
Is
right?
he? Oh, well, yeah.
He warmed up in US gear.
Yeah, I saw him doing strides at the track in Tokyo.
So it's going to be good to see him.
Despite that, I think he feels no pressure. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think he knows what that is.
He's one of the guys where you just like he's cool as a cucumber, just walking through, having a good time. And if I was an American athlete going against Yard and seeing how relaxed he is, I'd be shitting myself. So I'm excited to see him go and tear it up.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully a good celebration. I'm hoping for a good celebration.
I think that's
finger guns.
Yeah,
maybe.
If or just that.
No, I wanted to do I want to do the MJ.
Okay, this is the question. This is like what we
imagine if you just did the LeBron.
He just goes real out of pocket with it,
like completely out of pocket.
He goes this.
Yeah,
just reached up to God.
If Jared did that, I'd actually piss myself, bro.
This is my question to you guys. This is what we could maybe put money on. Do you think if he wins? Don't want to put any curse on him. If he wins, would he throw finger guns first or peace sign? Because I think he'll do both.
But you don't know which one before the other.
I don't know which order. Though.
I really hope he does peace and then finger guns because it'd just be really counterintuitive to go. But I told him on multiple runs to do the MJ because I just love the idea of people being like, "Oh, we're surprised he won," and then you just going like that.
Yeah,
I really love that.
What's the MJ like? The surprise.
The MJ is like,
oh yeah,
like that, and I like that one for Yaro because it's like
See, he'll probably do that as well. I think he'll probably do all three.
Yeah,
like he'll probably cross the line. MJ, I think he'll probably go. I think his instinct, like I don't think it's planned at all. I think his instinct is just finger guns. like when he wins a race, I think it's not even like a thought.
Yeah.
Like when the camera goes to him, finger guns. I think it's just, and then he poses for a photo, and that's when he puts up the peace sign.
Okay, this is my question for you guys. Do you reckon he's gonna do the repeat of the Spanish race that he did where he didn't come out for like 10 minutes and Ritz was wondering where he was and he's just like looking around and
I hope they do.
That's when he came out and did the peace sign.
Yeah, he's like, I'm here, don't worry.
Yeah. No, God.
I love that we weren't going to preview it. Now we're just talking about
we're previewing the post-race.
The post-race celebrations.
The hopeful post-race celebrations.
Yeah, hopeful.
No curse.
But Sage in the 800.
Yeah, that's going to be...
That's probably one of the toughest teams to make, I would say.
I think everyone would agree that everyone knows the US women's 800, if in the past, I don't know how many years, like 3-4 years, like if you're on that team, you can medal at Worlds. It's like not even a question. So it's been so competitive. And this year, they
have the extra spot.
They do have the extra spot. And then also...
We'll take 4.
I think things are looking... Well, Sage just continues to improve and continues to look really good. And then also... I would say, so I think Mo isn't racing, which is really weird.
She's running the 1500.
Yeah.
Which is a really interesting thing. She has not run a 1500 this season.
Yeah.
I think she ran a mile indoors at A&M.
Did she?
Oh, really?
And then she tried to run a mile at Milrose, but DNF'd.
Wasn't that a year
That was
ago?
last year, I think.
Yeah, so I said a year, right?
Did you? Well, I thought you were talking about this year.
No, this season.
No,
this season she hasn't run 1500.
No.
That's what I meant.
Yeah.
I think I said that. I'm forgetting a lot of things what I say. Anyway, she ran a 1500, which I think is an interesting move. Her coach believes that she can win worlds in the 1500 meters as well as the 800. So,
did he say that for this year or like in the future?
I mean, if he's saying it for this year, this year is the future. Like, technically it would be in the future that she'd win it. So, do you know what I mean? So, in general, she's saying that she's going to run the world record and beat Faith Kipyegon. That's what Bobby's saying.
Nice.
So, I'm excited to see that. But her not running the 800 is going to be interesting to see how the tactics play in.
That's pretty common though. Like Fred's not running the 100, Michael Norman's not running the 400, Noah Lyles is not running the 200. Like no one who is world champ is really running their event.
Is it because they don't want to get beaten, or is it because they want to kind of just let the field do their thing?
You just don't have to.
I think I think it's probably a lot of pressure to do your top event, and they maybe want to save up all their juice for the Worlds.
Hey, I would.
And if you want a double, you may as well.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Try and make the team
focus
on the other one.
Spread your
wings. Well, yeah, that's.
I think Ryan Krause is entered in the
steeplechase. Krause in the steeple. Imagine that man doing a water pit jump.
That'd be epic.
Be unreal. Anyway, my point was with the 800 without a Thingmo, how the tactics would play out in that race, because she gets the front and she just goes, you know. So now they don't have that happening in the races. I wonder who's going to try and take control and how the tactics will play out. And I think like Sage has raced really well. She raced really well in New York. I thought she positioned herself well, and like positioning is everything in those 800s, man, because those girls are so talented and you can't really make many mistakes in that short amount of time. But it's probably going to be one of my favorite events to watch, is the women's 800.
Yeah, I think RJ is probably going in as the favorite, even though she had kind of a poor race in her last one, but still she's already run so amazing earlier in the season in Paris. So I'd say she's the favorite, and she's raced. I don't know how many. She probably won all the US titles before I think Mo came along. She probably won so many, but I think the interesting thing is that Raven Rogers hasn't looked as good, and she's kind of the trio last year. Like that was them for the last couple of years, but there's a bunch of other girls who are looking really good as well, like sub 2 girls. So you can't count any of them out. But I think we'll be rooting for. I think this is Sage's chance to really just make that team, and yeah, once you make that team, I think anything can happen at Wilds. But just the way that Sage has been racing, I think we'll be all feeling that she has a very good shot at making the team and even winning. Like if she won, like I would not be shocked.
I would not be shocked either. I think she's only like reaching her potential in the 800 now, like learning. And the one thing that's really great about that event is you can run so many of them and just learn so much and progress through it. So
yeah, I'm pretty jealous of how many 800s you can run. Even I feel that way about the 1500 as well. If you're comparing it to the 5K, you can just race so many.
It was a great thing from Mario, like where he said that he just gets better every time he races through the season. Like every time he races through, and like for some athletes that might not be the case. Maybe you only race a limited amount of times because you know that you only hit your maximum potential. But the way that those middle distance races are is like you can just go back to back to back to back, and you can take away a lot from each race, and it just helps you grow as an athlete. And that's what Sage has done. So really excited for her. It'd be great to see the Herta Klecker clan both going to Worlds. So fingers crossed for that.
That'd be sick. Power couple.
So
anything else from our USA preview? Did we miss anything?
I'm not going to talk anymore. I think I need to have a break. So.
George, did we miss anything? I mean, that's our team.
Not much to add.
OAC. Get out there and cheer for them.
I do want to add, what is an event that you guys are really looking forward to watching that doesn't have our teammates competing in it?
Great question, Ollie.
Maybe I should say the steeple, just because.
The steeple is super.
It's interesting because
as well,
the only person with the standard is Hillary, who's not running, and I'm pretty sad Evan is not running. I think everyone probably like in the sport is sad when Evan's not running.
There's a stat apparently that Hillary and Evan have combined 10 US championships.
Yeah,
between them.
Well, I think Evan won 7 in a row, and then Hillary has won the last 3. So there's gonna be a new US champ for the first time since like.
A little trivia for you guys: who was the last person to win that wasn't those two? We know him.
Billy Nelson.
Seriously.
Yeah. How cool is that?
It is cool.
Yeah. So I mean, that's one of the events I'm very excited to watch.
No one has the standard.
Yeah.
But most of them have the ranking, so
it could go either way. It could go really tactical to try and get the win, or it could just go everyone's just going to try and go to get the standard in the final.
No, Duncan Hamilton's in it, so it's probably not going to be tactical.
He's going to go for it.
I think you probably will have to run the standard to win. Really? I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised, but George should just go and run the US Championship. Yeah, just get into it, get stuck in.
Hopefully, maybe Evan will get healthy by the end of the season and be in a couple of Diamond Leagues or something.
Yeah.
I'd love to be in a steeple with him.
It'd be good if he can come back for the Olympics next year.
Yeah.
That's probably what he's thinking, I imagine.
Hopefully.
Like not racing USA's this year.
You should get a selfie with him when you're in the call room. It's like, hey man, I just got to get this for my wall.
But
will do.
My answer would probably be the men's 200 or the hurdles.
Arian Knighton's running really well at the moment.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I don't really know. Like, all
and then we have a Coffee Club TC athlete in the 100 hurdles as well. So.
I really want, because Devon's been he hasn't been quiet this year, but he hasn't been as good as, last year he came in the championships after breaking 13, I think it was, in the New York meet, so it's a little bit different. But those two sprint events will be very excited to watch. So, yeah, that's our USA preview. Yeah. Wait, what was your answer?
My answer was a steeple as well.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I mean, those events too you mentioned. I mean, the whole USA's is like really exciting. It's my favorite track meet to watch.
Yeah, all those finals, they're like so good. So that's USA's. Cheer for the OAC. We're not going to be there this year, but
OAC 1, 2, 3.
Exactly. Yeah. So we've covered a lot today, but one big race that happened in the last week, which wasn't a Diamond League, was the Beer Mile World Classic is its name. I don't really know how it works in that sport.
Does that mean it's not like the World Championships?
Yeah, I think the World Championships is something separate. I'm not sure.
World Classic is a good name.
It's like Nike NXM Nationals and Foot Locker Nationals. There's like there's two worlds.
Is it
beer
like
miles,
that,
so they're separate.
Exactly. And it was run by, like the Beer Mile media guys who have like their podcasts and stuff. I think they were like, I just got to give credit to like the team that was running it because it was so well. Like the live stream, such good production. The commentators, I can't remember the other one's name, but one of them was Will Lear. And it was just like, and the man who was doing the post race interviews was like dressed as like a circus, like I don't know what they're called, like the person who like runs the show at a circus, essentially, like the whole
conductor-y thing. I did see the photo of that guy. So that's not the word, but yeah, everything
about it was just like so well done, and so it was cool to have like the great live stream of it with the drone shots and everything, and we have two main storylines to take from this one. First, Kev. It was a race for coaching Kev in the Clydesdale section, which is, for those who don't know, it's a weight division. I'm not sure what weight you have to be above. Do you remember?
I don't know.
So like 180 or something. Either you have to be above.
Clydesdale. That's so funny.
And watching it was so. I think if we were gonna have one coaching takeaway is that we had to force Kevin to drink more beers going into it because the way it would happen every time is he would be a little bit slower on the beer drinking and then he would catch them on the running. So like after 3 laps, it was just great like tension building because it would happen every time. Like the first 3 beers and 3 laps, he would just be catching them and I think he was leading going into the last beer. And then it was so sad because the guy who ended up winning, who I think he's a listener of the pod, so shout out to him. I can't remember your name, sorry. He just ran away with it on the end. And what was really sad is like the whole time I'm thinking like, okay, where's Kev on the screen? Like where is he? Like, and then he just never showed up. And then he just like was so far back, and then I messaged him later and you couldn't see it on the stream, but he threw up. So then he had to run the penalty lap. And then he was just, he ended up quite far back, but he was in the hunt the whole way up to that point.
Hey, he went for the win. That's all we care about. Yeah, at Coffee Club TC, we care about going for the win, and that's what Kev tried to do.
So yeah, shout out to Kev as well. We're still proud of you, man. You
100%.
Probably did better than we would do.
I don't know how we would go.
I could not put down those beers, but the other big storyline from that, which was just funny, was the return of Shelby breaking the women's world record. Believe it or not, the beer mile doesn't use the same stringent drug testing that the rest of our sport does.
No.
Yeah, it's a shocker. It's a shocker.
Big shocker.
What's that on a Nike contract? Winning
what's the world?
It's probably a fat bonus.
World record should be a fat bonus. Couple $100,000 maybe.
Yeah. The only thing I really want to say about this is, do you guys think her running that and getting the world record is good for the sport or not good for the sport?
I don't think it's good for the sport, personally.
Pretty neutral because I didn't even know it happened, honestly.
I like weirdly think it's good just because it's like a funny storyline.
I guess if the way you portray it can vary. Like
what'd she run?
Like pretty good, like 6 minutes, I think. Maybe under 6.
I mean, yeah, the way you can portray it is either way. It's like a funny storyline that's probably like a good thing for the sport to get people excited. But I just think it's a bad thing where it's like a drug cheat's like doing that, breaking a world record and getting.
It's just weird that someone
what she did.
That's currently banned.
It's still kind of lingering, you know.
But I don't know. My whole idea, I want her to embrace everything and like open up a burrito,
the burrito stand,
food truck.
Yeah.
So I think she's just got to lean into more. I don't know. I mean, I've obviously had.
She should host a burrito mile.
Should the burrito?
Burrito every lap.
Yeah. I don't know.
Was Jerry there?
Probably. I don't know. The reason I guess I respect it in like a weird way is like, think about how much balls you have to like turn up. If you're like banned.
I don't think she gives a shit, to be honest.
Like that's crazy. I would.
Yeah, I wonder what people like at the meet think of her being in the race.
Yeah, like she's got to know. Like a lot of people are just gonna be
hating on her. Yeah, I mean, I don't think she gives a shit. I mean, there's been a few. She ran a fun run a while back. I remember seeing, and she won that, and she got money for it. but it wasn't under the same restrictions. Like, I don't know how, whatever the restrictions are, but she's done this before and she obviously doesn't care. I mean, she believes that she is a clean athlete.
I'm pretty happy for her to be doing that kind of shit. Like,
Yeah.
if you're going to be doing something...
I would prefer her to be happy doing that rather than just like depressed.
Yeah.
You know, just doing nothing.
But this is the thing that's gonna...
Wonder if Zane Robertson will take this.
Yeah. Is she gonna like, after a year though, she'll be ready, like she can't compete at Paris, but she can compete
It's 2025.
Yeah.
25
So it's still
a
indoors,
while.
she could
Still a
come back.
while.
Still quite a while.
So that's a lot of more beer miles she has to do before she can actually
That world
race.
record is gonna be pretty quick by the time she returns.
She runs like a 4:20. She's just able to score. Then after that, every race she races, she just can't race without scoring a beer halfway every lap, you know.
Yeah. So that was the Be My World Classic. Shout out to those guys for putting on a cool, fun event. I think it's probably pretty difficult to do. I don't know how much they had a bunch of sponsors and stuff. I don't know how much funding they get.
Why didn't we sponsor them?
We should have, honestly. I mean, we don't have any money, so that's probably the biggest reason. I mean, we do now. Thank you, Camelback. All that money will be going directly to Beer Miles.
I'm sure, Camelback will be excited that we're putting it back into the community.
We really
We're
should find
reinvesting
something to sponsor.
reinvesting
That'd be
it.
so fun.
We should.
I want to do the high jump thing that you guys mentioned now. Just put a Coffee Club banner just under the high jump.
Just right there. That'd be perfect.
Yeah.
So, I think that's kind of it for today. Is there anything else that we didn't cover?
No, I think we covered everything.
Pretty
The
good.
only thing we didn't do is July. It's July 4th today when we're recording this. My personal opinion, July 4th, extremely overrated. I don't think I've ever really bought into the July 4th. I think Thanksgiving is my favorite American holiday, or like political stuff aside, because I don't
Just the food and the company.
I just
and
mean
the
like
football
the
and-
vibes.
Yeah, the vibes.
The vibes.
The candles, the pumpkin candles.
The pumpkin candles.
Yeah, I mean 4th of July for me just seems like everyone. This is a reason for everyone to get really drunk and then let off fireworks and be very loud. So
Like most holidays, I guess.
yeah,
But
good for them.
Thanksgiving just seems a lot more wholesome to me.
I like the idea of Thanksgiving that everyone like makes food for each other. I like that concept
Mhm.
personally. So
Yeah.
I agree with you on that, George.
I had a hot dog last night at Rosetta. That's my contribution.
But that's July 3rd. That's not on
but,
July 4th.
It was on the menu
It's the
because
eve.
it was
It's the
July
eve.
4th.
Eve. Okay, July 4th Eve.
It's the eve.
Maybe I'll have another hot dog
Yeah.
today.
Yeah. So, happy July 4th to those who celebrate.
Mm.
But I think that's it from us today. Just we'll mention one more time. Coffee Club, all caps, no space, to purchase Camelback for 20% off. We're going to be buying that stuff as well using that code. So check it out. But I think that's it from us today for episode 93. Signing out. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening. We'll see you all next week.